Edinburgh Castle, majestic by day, a jewel of Scotland's crown. But when night falls, and storms roll in over the fog-draped hills, its beauty hides a much darker secret. Deep beneath the ancient stone lies a labyrinth of hidden chambers, a place where prisoners were sent to be forgotten. They went in, but they never came out. This is the story of Liam, a history vlogger, who, in 2019, decided to attempt the impossible. A 24 hours alone in a haunted castle challenge. His plan was simple: blend in with the last tour group of the day, find a secluded spot, and wait for the heavy doors to lock behind the departing staff. He found his hiding place in a dusty alcove, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. The final clang of the main gate echoed through the empty halls. He was alone. Or so he thought. Pulling out his camera, he started his vlog. "Alright guys, we're in Edinburgh Castle, all to myself." He chuckled, but the sound died in his throat. His breath plumed in front of him, a thick white fog in the frigid air. "Whoa, it is freezing in here," he stammered, his laugh a little shaky. "Must be some old drafty pipes or something." Right, he started his exploration, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the oppressive darkness. The castle felt different now. The silence was heavy, punctuated only by the drip, drip, drip of water somewhere in the distance, and the scuttling of unseen things. He soon found it, a narrow stone staircase, spiraling down into the bowels of the earth. The air grew colder, thick with the smell of damp soil and decay. The walls were slick with moisture, and his flashlight began to flicker erratically. At the bottom was a heavy, black wooden door, reinforced with iron straps. A modern, weathered sign was bolted to it. The words stark and clear: "Do not enter." For Liam, this wasn't a warning. It was an invitation. With a grunt, he forced the door open. It creaked on ancient hinges, revealing a small, cell-like chamber. He swept his light across the walls, and his blood ran cold. Scratched crudely into the stone were the words, "We are still here." A shiver traced its way down his spine. He felt a sudden draft, as if someone had just walked past him. Espun Harun. Camera panning wildly. The beam caught nothing but empty space, but for a split second, he could have sworn he saw a shadow move behind him. A flicker of movement, just at the edge of the light. Dismissing it as a trick of the light, he pushed deeper, the passage leading him into another room. This one was larger, and the purpose was immediately, horribly clear. In the center stood an old wooden chair, grotesque and menacing. Leather straps hung from its arms and legs, and a rusty iron crown sat atop its high back, designed to hold a prisoner's head in place. A torture chair. As he zoomed in on the dark stains soak in the wood, his flashlight gave a final, desperate flicker and died. Total darkness. Absolute silence. He fumbled with his pack, his hands shaking as he searched for spare batteries. Then he heard it. A whisper right beside his ear, so close he could feel the cold breath on his skin. "Sit down." Down. Panic seized him. He scrambled backwards, crashing into the stone wall. His hand slammed against the side of his camera, accidentally activating its built-in floodlight. The room was instantly illuminated, and the chair was no longer empty. A tall, gaunt shadow figure was sitting there, its form indistinct but its presence overwhelming. It seemed to lean forward, as if to stand. Liam didn't wait. He screamed, turned, and ran blindly back into the corridor. He found himself in a long, narrow tunnel that seemed to stretch into infinity. Doors lined the walls, leading to endless, identical chambers. He was lost in a maze, and then the screams began. Not one, but dozens. The agonized cries of men, women, and children echoed from all directions, a symphony of suffering that seemed to seep from the very stones. He clapped his hands over his ears, but it was useless. The sound was inside his head. He looked up, His camera pointed toward the ceiling. Horrified, he saw them. Shadows, writhing and crawling above him like spiders, their distorted forms twisting in silent agony. He kept running, his lungs burning. Suddenly, something grabbed the back of his jacket, yanking him backward. He screamed and tore himself free, leaving a piece of his clothing behind as he stumbled forward, desperate to escape. He burst through a doorway at the end of the tunnel, hoping for a way out. Instead, the heavy door slammed shut behind him with a deafening boom. He was trapped. This chamber was different. The walls were covered in frantic scratches. Broken chains and shackles lay discarded on the floor. In the center of the room was a large, dark pit, a black hole that seemed to swallow the light from his camera. A new voice echoed from the depths of the pit, a low, guttural sound that vibrated through the floor. "Come down." Liam backed away, his eyes fixed on the pit. Slowly, impossibly, skeletal hands began to rise from the darkness. Pale, bony fingers clawed at the edge of the pit, pulling themselves up. More and more appeared, a legion of the dead reaching for him. A strangled cry escaped his lips. He stumbled backward, dropping his camera. The lens pointed up at his terrified face, and behind him, rising from the shadows, stood a tall, dark figure, its form solidifying from the darkness. The last thing the camera recorded was Liam's eyes widening in pure terror as the screen went black. Days later, castle guards on their morning rounds found a single camera lying on the floor of a sealed-off chamber. The footage was reviewed. But of Liam, the history vlogger, there was no sign. He was gone. The final frame of the recording, however, is the most disturbing part. When NN said, it shows something chilling. A gaunt, emaciated creature climbing out of the pit, its eyes glowing faintly in the gloom. The cursed chambers of Edinburgh Castle are real. They hold secrets that were never meant to be discovered. So if you ever find yourself walking its historic grounds, enjoy the beauty and the history. But if you see a locked door leading down into the darkness, remember Liam's story. Avoid the tunnels. Some places are better left undisturbed. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more tailies from the dark side of history. Stay safe out there.